Well, I'm watching the TV this morning, coming out of Nashville, and I guess the governor, he's got some ideas, on the school, how to prevent these school shootings maybe or whatever. I give this a little more thought, there was a young girl, I think she was 9 years old, she was killed at that school, and it was told she was trying to pull the fire alarm to try to save, to alert people, I guess. Well, I got sort of a problem with that. I guess I'm a little bit confused here. So, if the fire alarm goes off in a school, that means maybe there's a fire in the school, right? And you should, get out of the school. Well, they can't put a system in a school that has a sound it makes for a fire. And they can't put a system in a school that would be like a security threat. It'd be a different sound, wouldn't it? I mean, if I'm in a school and a fire alarm goes off, I might run into the hallway trying to get out of there, right? And lo and behold, there's a shooter. But if it makes a different sound, it's a security threat. I wouldn't run out the door. I would probably lock the classroom door, wouldn't I? Now, here's something else that I haven't seen anybody talk about. It sort of relates to this little girl trying to pull the fire alarm. Yeah, I think they ought to have a system in a school that's different, makes a different sound versus a fire. That's not very difficult. That sort of be nationwide. But what about this? What about for these security threats? Were the faculty members of the school or the teachers or whatever has a way to remote control trigger this system? I mean, we may actually need to have, on the walls of these schools, we may need to have two kinds of alarms. A red one for a fire and maybe a different color for a threat. For an actual threat. And then, yeah, the kids and the teachers and all would know where they are. But also, what about a way to remotely trigger this? Should certain people, even an SRO assigned to the school, he could remotely trigger this alarm. He may not be in a position where he could get to actually pull the manual alarm, but he could remotely trigger it. Same would go for a school faculty member. They could see something outside. But this device may actually reach, have the range where it's like, uh-oh, there's somebody with a gun. Or they see something suspicious and they're like, well, I'm going to trigger the alarm. It's better to be safe than sorry. Yeah, there's things we can do, We just got to get some people thinking. And what about new schools? I mentioned this before in a previous video. What about these new schools being built? Wouldn't it be nice if you had two different sets of alarms in the school? One for a fire and then one for these deranged people trying to commit these horrendous acts. Yeah, you do a little thinking about this, you can come up with some pretty logical things. Hope you enjoyed.